impersonal. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here. Sorry, I was reading that. Okay, impersonal constructions we say are commonly used on signs and in instructions and rules in order to attribute actions to no one in particular. So when we are using when we're trying to make those types of statements, it's going to be, you're going to use say and the third person singular of the verb, okay, which means your verb is going to be conjugated for el or ella. That's what we mean by third person. So you can see that that's what's happening down here. In statements that are attributed to no one in particular, they're generally followed by an infinitive, which is what you've got here. Se prohíbe fumar, smoking is prohibited. So you had the se impersonal, well, the se, and then the third person singular of the verb, and then you had your infinitive. Or a clause that's introduced by que, which is what's going on here. Se dice que I, or se dice que, so you had se dice, and then you had que. So you had se, the verb in the third person, and then you had que. Lastly, or an adverb, se compra, you had se, the verb in the third person singular form, and then bien, the adverb. You can also use the pronoun se in the third person singular or plural form of the verb as a substitute for the passive voice to say what is done. Notice the subject of the verb is the object that is offered, seed, sown, bought, and so on. So, for example, here, se ofrecen descuentos en la internet. So what we're saying here is discounts. You don't have a specific person who's offering these discounts. You're saying discounts are offered, which is passive voice, because active voice would be like the store offers discounts, or the salespeople offer discounts through the internet. So because it's and you're going to conjugate your verb for the thing that is offered. So what's offered are discounts. So I'm going to conjugate my verb for ofrecen, and I put se in front of it. And here, what's found is a ring. So I'm going to conjugate my verb for ring and put se in front of it. And here, what's sold are artículos de segunda mano en esa tienda. So secondhand articles are what's sold here. So what's being sold are these articles. And so that's why I'm going to use vendían. Or secondhand articles used to be sold. So you can use different tenses, because you'll notice this is present tense. They put preterite here. What was found, the ring was found in the dressing room, and article, secondhand clothing used to be sold in this store. So you can see that this was present tense, this was preterite, and this was imperfect. But it's all still third person. So when you're using, when you're forming a type of passive voice, you're going to use say and the third person singular or plural form of the verb in any tense. Okay. In any tense. So that could be in the preterite, imperfect, present, future, etc. Okay, so let's go over here and do some practice. Here's my thing. Okay, so over here we've got complete the statements with the se impersonal. So we know in each of these blocks we're going to end up putting in se. Okay, and this one is, you've got blank decir que. So they say that comer vegetales y frutas es muy bueno para la salud. They say that eating vegetables and fruit is very good for health, for your health. So we've got que right here. So since it's got K, we're going to keep this in the singular form. And what we're going to write is exactly what you had over there. Se dice. Because unless it's passive voice, which is what's going on down here, then you keep it in the el elia form, not the ellos elias form. Okay, no poder fumar aquí. It's not allowed, smoking is not allowed here. So if you look, we've got an infinitive right next to the blank. So if it's an infinitive that we're using next to our say impersonal construction, if you look up here, if it's an infinitive, you're supposed to use the third person singular, ella. So that's what I need to conjugate for here. Se puede, no se puede fumar aquí. Here, anunciar los resultados hoy. This one actually is passive voice because there's no K after the blank. There's no infinitive and there's no adverb. So I'm actually going to need to conjugate. So what I'm saying is the results are being announced today. So I need to conjugate for results. Results is plural. And so what I would put here are se anuncian. I have to conjugate for ellos, elias here. Conjugate for ellos, elias, passive voice. Okay. Here again, it's going to be passive. Here again, it's going to be passive voice. Spanish is not spoken in Brazil. And then you're going to conjugate for the thing that's not spoken, which is Spanish, which is singular. So this is going to be se habla. Juanito, no blank. And they have a little typo here. They actually left the R off. Here, I'll do a capital one so you can see it. I don't know. Hacer. Anyway, no hacer eso aquí. Don't do that. One doesn't do that here since it's a there is no. It's going to be passive voice again, and so what's following is eso. So we're going to leave it. We're going to keep it in the singular form. So one doesn't do that here. No se hace eso aquí. No debe manejar después de tomar alcohol. So if I go up here, what comes after my verb that I'm manipulating is another verb. So that would be the same rules that apply up here. When they're not like signs and instructions or rules, this would be a rule. Driving after drinking alcohol, or one should not drive after drinking alcohol. And so we're going to leave it in the singular because when it's for rules or for instructions or for signs, it's always going to be for ella. So it's going to be no se debe manejar. Tener que leer mucho. We've got K here. So again, this is going to fall in the first group's category. So we're going to do it for ella. So they have to read a lot, or one has to read a lot in literature class. So it would be se tiene que. En el Perú, regatear mucho en los mercados. Mucho would be an adverb like vienes. So again, we're going to use the singular form. So en el Perú se regatea regatea mucho en los mercados. En 9 dice, maybe that's it. En mi casa, blank, comer bien los domingos. Again, you've got an adverb here, you've got bien, so we're going to keep it singular, and it would be en mi casa, in my house. They eat well, se come bien los domingos. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and pull up, let's see if I can get out here. Let's see if we want to do this one. We can do this one. Okay. Let me just save this one and I'll delete it and stick the other one out there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this activity. This one is supposed to be passive voice, so we should just be looking down here. Trying to see. Well, yeah, so we're looking pretty much down here this time. Okay, so en México, comer mucha comida picante. So in Mexico, they eat a lot of, or a lot of spicy food is eaten in Mexico. So you're going to conjugate for what is actually being eaten, which is comida. It's singular. So I'm going to put still se come. Oh, wait, we're supposed to put in the preterite. Sorry. Se comió. It says fill in the blank with the say passive. Make sure I'm getting my directions right. Oh, 5 through 8 in the preterite. Okay, so I thought that would be right. Se come. So we do 1 through 4 in the present. En mi universidad, ofrecer muchas clases interesantes. We're going to conjugate for what's offered. What's offered are the classes, which is plural. So this time I am going to use the plural form. I've got to conjugate for classes. So it's going to be se ofrecen muchas clases interesantes. So in my university, a lot of interesting classes are offered. En este restaurante no aceptar tarjetas de crédito. So in this restaurant, tarjetas de crédito are not accepted. What's not accepted? Tarjetas de crédito. So it is going to be plural again, and it would be se aceptan. Okay. And then creo que dar un descuento en esa tienda los viernes. Okay, so I believe that a discount is given in this store on Fridays. So what's given is a discount. We're going to conjugate for discount and we're going to keep it in the singular form, which would be se da. Creo que se da un descuento. And then in 5, we're going to start doing preterite. No encontrar muchas gangas en esa tienda ayer. So, a lot of sales were not found at this store yesterday, or one could not find a lot of sales. So what couldn't be found are the sales, and we have to put it into the preterite tense this time according to the directions. So it's se encontraron. I'm going to conjugate for Elios Elias because it was gangas. Blank vender muchos teléfonos celulares en los Estados Unidos el año pasado. So a lot of cell phones were sold in the United States last year. So what was being sold? The cell phones, the teléfonos celulares. So we are going to conjugate for that. And so this would make it se vendieron. Arturo me dijo que anoche cancelar el concierto porque hacía muy mal tiempo. What was canceled? The concert was canceled. And so you have to conjugate for the concert, which would be se se canceló. Um, Abrir las puertas a las 8 anoche. So the doors were opened at 8 o'clock last night. So what was opened? The doors. We're going to conjugate for the doors, which would be se abrieron. Okay, so hopefully that helped you all understand how to do the say impersonal.